registration information. Then once confirmed, you log into the course, use the instructor provided code, and that's the course ID. Remember that you're going to have separate codes for lab and lecture. Start with the lecture, then use the upper right-hand corner, My Courses, and join another course, okay? Remember that the provider code for the lab should be in the syllabus for the lab. I'm waiting to see how that comes out. But definitely the course ID for the lecture is in my syllabus right now, which I want you to go to the e-learning site, download and print it, please. Now, how do you know that you're in the correct site? You're going to see in the left-hand corner, ANA 1010A lecture spring 2018, okay? You'll also see a cover of the textbook. Now, what are the advantages of using Mastering A&P process? Well, it's a week-to-week notification of when the assignments are due, which you saw before. The gradebook records the date, time, and grade of completed assignments. Assignments have a randomized quiz questions covering topics of the chapter. So this is going to give you a way to assess, do I really know what I just read? Some of the assignments may have animations, but what is key important for all of this is do not wait until the last minute of the deadline to complete these assignments. They're going to take time to complete. But there's a new update on this. As part of the mastery approach, you're going to take the questions. You can take them as many times as you would like, the assignments, but you have to achieve an 80% grade to earn the grade. In other words, you take the quiz. The quiz is going to be about 50 questions, and you have to score 80 or better. If you don't do it the first time, do it again, and do it again, and do it again. And also the nice thing is Mastering A&P will give you some feedback about why this is a wrong answer or what's the correct one, etc. Now, you have to understand that each time you take this quiz, you're picking questions from a pool of maybe anywhere from 100 to 200 to 300 questions for those particular chapters that you had related. And this is only going to be for Mastering A&P assignments, but you do have to achieve the 80% to earn the points for that particular weekly assignment. And you have to get it completely done. The reason that we've changed this, one, is to help you to have more time and practice with these questions, but two, also some students would go through this stuff and just randomly go through it, and sometimes they would jump a couple of weeks ahead. They hadn't read the chapter yet, but they definitely want to get the assignment done. You're not helping yourself. You have to understand these assignments are going to provide you feedback on your comprehension of the content. So let's talk a little bit more about grading here. There are four, not online, they are in class. Yes, I have to correct myself. Exams. They're 60%. They're listed for the dates in the syllabus. Each exam is 150 points. It's about 75 questions, various types, usually multiple choice, etc. That's going to equal 600 points. Your weekly graded online assignments, that's 15% of your grade. It's 15 points each, a total of 10 assignments done. You get 150 points. There are actually 12 assignments, but I give some leeway. I cannot give you extra points. But if a student skips an assignment and says, oh gosh, I don't know what to do, well, you still got another couple of assignments left. You still may be able to get the 150 points. Even those students that get 150 points and they got 2 assignments left, I say, look, go do it anyways. I can't give you the points, but it'll help you to determine whether you know the content or not to prepare you for the final exams. Now, your laboratory component is 25% of your grade, because if you notice, 60 plus 15 is 75. So 25% comes from your laboratory component, which is a total of 250 points. And of that, you will have 3 lab practical exams, each 75 points. So that's a total of 225 points. You have weekly assignments that range from 5 to 10 points each, total of 25 points. And there you have a 1,000-point grade. And you have to keep in mind that to pass this course, you have to have 770 points. That is to obtain a C+. No grades are rounded up, and the final grades are final. So, no extra credit work, no late work accepted, no grades rounded up. Here is the grading scale. And you see that listed also in your syllabus. So you have to get at least 770. Is it impossible to get A's and B's? No, on the contrary. I had quite a few students that did very well last semester. As I said, no extra credit work is allowed for the course. Any missed or late work will result in a 0 for the assignment, and all submitted work has a date time stamp on it. That's why I want all students to send the work and do it on Mastering A&P. Don't send me any work by email. Because of the problems with viruses and Trojans and other malware, etc., I never accept assignments by email. I immediately delete them. Now, academic honesty. The best way to say it is don't cheat, but that's simplifying it. Forms of academic honesty include cheating on quizzes and exams. Basically, academic honesty boils down to 3 simple but powerful principles. When you say you did the work yourself, you actually did it. When you rely on somebody else's work, you cite it. When you use their words or quote them openly, accurately, and you cite them too. When you present research materials, you present them fairly and truthfully. Okay? Now, assignments, they're always due Saturday at 11:59 p.m. That's it. This is for weekly lecture assignments and all lab assignments. The schedule is in the syllabus and in the announcements. Do not worry about things in the sense that you have to start working on the time management, when you're going to study, when you're going to read, when you're going to get work done, well in advance of Saturday at 11:59. And on Sunday, I get up early and I go downstairs to my office and I basically grade. And I try to give you a rapid feedback on your work. Same thing with the exams, okay? Tips to success, pacing. Don't procrastinate. Know your schedule of dates for assignments and exams. Prepare, practice, review quizzes, self-tests, lab notes, chapter notes, etc. Repetition enhances recall. One of the great things that I've done is I've enhanced and buffed up the number of YouTube videos to help you after you've read the notes, read the lectures, textbook material. Go over the YouTube videos. They will help you. They will help reinforce the concepts. You would also want to review the week modules prior to the start of the week. Print out all the lecture notes, lab handouts, and graphic organizers. In the past, I've seen students, they don't have the lecture notes at all. And yet they're taking notes in class. And they don't have the graphic organizers. And I don't understand. But it's important that you have all your tools, right tools for the right job. Review in your lab book exercise review sheets. Now, before you come into lab, you should read the exercises that are going to be appropriate for each week's assignments. Exercises is another way of saying chapters, but basically in the lab book, they call them exercises as opposed to chapters. Now, at the end of each exercise, you'll have these black and white pages that are sort of review sheets. You should be able to do those too, or do them in part after the lecture that occurs in the lab orientation. And there's also answer sheets that we provide in the e-learning on those review sheets. Also, there's a very nice section called Practice Anatomy Lab. This is located in the study area of Mastering A&P, and I'll go over that really quickly right now. Here is your Mastering A&P. Here is your study area, which is also referred to as My A&P. This wonderful section opens up to a new window when you click on it. And you can get orientation on any of the chapters you're going to be dealing with. We're going to go through in A&P 1, chapters 1 through basically 14. So if you look at chapter 1 and you click on Go, you're going to have all the material there. Chapter guides, chapter quizzes, practice tests. If you notice on the left-hand side here, really wonderful tools. Now, if it's been a long time since you had biology or anatomy and physiology, maybe you want to go over and click on Get Ready for A&P. This is a nice book that they had made, and they put it online, and you can review study skills, basic math, terminologies, body basics, for example, body basics, chemistry, basically the content that you would see in the first 3 chapters of your anatomy and physiology, okay? Let's go back here. a couple of other very good tools to help you. There is the lab manual e-text, which is right here, and that will help you if you want to review some things in the lab. But another very nice tool and very powerful now is PAL 3.1. And what's going on with 3.1? They also have flashcards for this. Is that PAL 3.1, and another window will open, can give you views of the human cadaver, so you can study the skeletal system, axial, which is the head, skull, the vertebrae, and the rib and the thoracic cage, and the appendicular skeleton, which is basically the bones that exist in the limbs. And so that's the shoulder and the upper limbs, and the hips and the lower limbs. They also would provide anatomical models for you to review, okay? As well as histology. What are the slides and the tissues? You're going to have to go through this, particularly when you go through Chapter 4, histology. And then, of course, they've got some nice dissections, including certain organs, sheep organs, cow eyes, things like that. But this is an extremely helpful tool. By the way, let me just go back over there for 1 second, PAL 3.1. Don't know histology very well? Take a look at epithelial cells for a second here. And the nice thing is that they will give you the pronunciation, plus, if you watch, notice how there was a light up there, simple squamous epithelium, right there. If you bring your pointer over, you will have labels that will pop up. Now, if you're not sure what they are, here are the labels here: renal corpuscles, etc., simple cuboidal epithelium, simple squamous epithelium. If you want to hide them and test yourself, what's this, what's this, what's this? That's a great way to review also. Now, finally, you want to be able to review some pre-lab videos. They're available there for blood pressure, blood typing. That's more A&P2 stuff, but there is some material available to help you. Diffusion osmosis, which is covered in Chapter 3. Also the compound microscope, which we're going to deal with in detail in, I think it's like the 4th or 5th lab. So that would be a good place to review. Now let me go back here. Labs. As part of the scaffolding approach to learning, all students must review each week's readings and assignment. But first, all YouTube videos should be viewed to help you to comprehend what is, the lecture and lab content for that week. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's go back to the A&P site. Now, this is the A&P lab part yet. It hasn't been completely fleshed out yet, and I'm sure that our lab manager will be doing so shortly. But here, if you go to week 1, you will notice that I provide you with some of the lesson objectives, your reading, your lesson activities, and then also the first lecture notes, and then there's a graphic organizer there to help you with the hierarchy of organization. Then a nice series of YouTube videos have been reviewed to help you to get used to things like anatomical terms, anatomical planes, body cavities, mapping the body, the quadrants, the 9 regions, etc. What I encourage you to do is view all of them. And better yet, you should be viewing all of these prior to coming into lecture. You may have some questions over that, but always wait till after the instructor has completed the lecture before you bring up the questions. But if I open you up and say, hey, are there any questions? You can certainly ask them. Some people have misinterpreted at times and they're afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask. That's how you're going to learn. But notice also, this is week 2. You're going to be studying homeostasis, and then we're going to go into a bunch of other very interesting aspects. And then, of course, by the time you're in week 3, we're gunning along and we're going through basic biochemistry, basic chemistry, biochemistry, and then we're getting into the molecules that are going to be the foundations for the cell. Okay? So, that said, take the time to view the tools that I provide for you. In prepping also, you want to review the lecture notes and chapter summaries. The nice thing about Marib is that she provides a very, very hefty chapter summary. And if you've never